What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, another version of you is living a completely different life just one quantum decision away? What if that strange feeling of déjà vu, that inexplicable moment when everything feels eerily familiar yet somehow wrong, isn't just your imagination playing tricks on you? What if it's actually evidence that you've briefly slipped between the thin veil separating our reality from countless others? You're not alone in experiencing these unsettling moments. Thousands of people worldwide report identical experiences, waking up in beds with different sheets, finding their favorite coffee shop has vanished overnight, or discovering that people they've known for years suddenly have no memory of shared experiences. These aren't isolated incidents of confusion or memory lapses. They're documented cases that challenge everything we think we know about the nature of reality itself. The sensation is unmistakable when it happens to you. You feel displaced, like you're wearing someone else's life. Colors seem slightly off. Familiar faces carry subtle differences, and there's an overwhelming sense that something fundamental has shifted in the fabric of your existence. Your rational mind scrambles for explanations, but deep down, you know something impossible has occurred. You've become an unwilling traveler between worlds that should never intersect. Let me tell you about Lorena Garcia Gordo, a 41-year-old Spanish woman whose story shattered conventional understanding of reality. On July 16, 2008, Lorena posted a desperate plea for help on a Spanish online forum. She claimed that when she woke up that morning, her entire world had subtly but definitively changed. The sheets on her bed were different colors than the ones she remembered falling asleep in. Her favorite radio station was playing music she'd never heard. Most disturbing of all, her boyfriend of 7 years had completely vanished from existence, replaced by memories of a different relationship that felt foreign, yet somehow familiar. Lorena's post described how she rushed to her job, only to discover that the department she'd worked in for years was located in a different area of the building. Colleagues she'd known intimately treated her as a casual acquaintance. Projects she'd devoted months to developing had never existed. Even more unsettling, she found evidence of a life she'd never lived. Vacation photos she didn't remember taking, a shoulder injury she'd never sustained, and medication prescribed for a condition she'd never had. Every attempt to return to her original reality failed. She was trapped in a world that was almost hers, but fundamentally different. The forum post sparked thousands of responses from people sharing eerily similar experiences. Many described waking up to find small but significant changes in their environment. Books on shelves rearranged differently, family photos showing slightly altered scenes, or discovering that historical events they remembered had unfolded differently. These weren't cases of simple forgetfulness or confusion. These were detailed, consistent reports from educated, rational individuals who found themselves living in versions of reality that didn't match their memories. Consider the case of James Richards, documented in multiple online forums throughout 2010. Richards claimed he spent several hours in what he described as a parallel version of our world where the Beatles never broke up. He encountered music stores selling albums that didn't exist in our reality, overheard conversations about concerts that never happened, and saw promotional materials for a band reunion that occurred decades after the group's actual dissolution. When he attempted to purchase one of these impossible albums, he found himself back in our familiar world, empty-handed but with vivid memories of an experience that should have been impossible. These stories share common elements that distinguish them from typical false memory or psychological episodes. The experiencers often describe feeling like observers in their own lives, watching themselves navigate familiar yet alien environments. They report an acute awareness that something fundamental has changed, coupled with an inability to identify exactly what's different. Most significantly, they maintain detailed, consistent memories of their original reality alongside clear recollections of the altered world they've encountered. Have you ever walked into a room and felt absolutely certain you'd been there before, even though you knew it was impossible? Have you ever had a conversation with someone who insisted you'd never met, despite your clear memory of previous interactions? These moments of reality displacement might be more than simple tricks of memory. They could be glimpses into the quantum nature of existence itself, brief moments when the boundaries between parallel worlds become permeable. The scientific community approaches these phenomena with a mixture of skepticism and fascination. Traditional explanations invoke false memory syndrome, confabulation, or dissociative episodes. These psychological interpretations suggest that the brain, under stress or fatigue, can create convincing but inaccurate memories or misinterpret familiar environments. Sleep deprivation, anxiety, and certain neurological conditions can indeed produce experiences that feel remarkably similar to these reported reality shifts. However, these conventional explanations struggle to account for the consistency and specificity of many reports. False memories typically involve general impressions rather than detailed, verifiable discrepancies. The experiencers often demonstrate normal psychological profiles and show no signs of underlying mental health issues. Moreover, some cases involve multiple witnesses who report identical observations of environmental changes, suggesting that purely psychological explanations may be insufficient. This is where quantum physics enters the conversation, offering theoretical frameworks that could potentially explain these impossible experiences. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, first proposed by Hugh Everett in 1957, suggests that every quantum measurement causes reality to branch into multiple parallel universes. In this model, every possible outcome of every quantum event actually occurs, but in separate, non-interacting realities. According to this interpretation, there are countless versions of you living slightly different lives across an infinite array of parallel worlds. In some universes, you chose different careers, married different people, or made alternative decisions at crucial moments. These parallel selves are typically isolated from each other, existing in separate branches of the quantum multiverse. But what if, under certain circumstances, the boundaries between these realities could become temporarily permeable? Physicist David Deutsch expanded on Everett's work, proposing that quantum interference between parallel worlds might occasionally allow limited interaction between different branches of reality. This could theoretically explain how someone might briefly experience or remember events from an alternate version of their life. While mainstream physics considers such interactions extremely unlikely, the mathematical framework doesn't explicitly forbid them. The concept becomes even more intriguing when we consider quantum entanglement and non-locality. If particles can influence each other instantaneously across vast distances, perhaps consciousness itself might occasionally entangle with alternate versions across parallel realities. This could explain the sudden, inexplicable knowledge of events or environments that experiencers report during these episodes. Some researchers have proposed that consciousness itself might exist partially outside conventional spacetime, allowing it to occasionally access information from parallel quantum states. This would explain not only the reality shift experiences, but also phenomena like precognitive dreams, sudden insights, and the uncanny feeling that we've lived through identical situations before. If consciousness operates on quantum principles, it might naturally interface with the quantum multiverse in ways we're only beginning to understand. The simulation hypothesis, popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom, offers another potential explanation. If our reality is actually a sophisticated computer simulation, glitches in the program could manifest as the reality shifts people report. Someone experiencing a parallel universe episode might be witnessing the simulation temporarily accessing alternate reality files, similar to how a computer might briefly display the wrong version of a document before correcting itself. Consider the possibility that advanced civilizations might run multiple simulations simultaneously, occasionally allowing data to leak between different scenarios. This could explain why people sometimes encounter familiar environments with subtle but significant differences, or why they might temporarily access memories that belong to alternate versions of themselves running in parallel simulations. Throughout human history, cultures worldwide have recognized the existence of alternate realities and dimensional shifts. Ancient Celtic traditions spoke of thin places where the barriers between worlds became permeable, allowing travelers to slip between different planes of existence. Indigenous American cultures described vision quests that could transport participants to alternate versions of reality. Hindu and Buddhist philosophies have long maintained that multiple layers of reality coexist, occasionally intersecting in ways that allow glimpses between worlds. These historical accounts share remarkable similarities with modern parallel universe experiences. They describe the same sense of displacement, the same awareness of being in a familiar yet alien environment, and the same difficulty in returning to one's original reality. This consistency across cultures and time periods suggests that reality shift experiences might be a fundamental aspect of human consciousness rather than a modern psychological phenomenon. The consistency of these reports across different cultures and time periods points to something more profound than mere fantasy or delusion. If these experiences were purely psychological, we would expect significant variation based on cultural beliefs and individual psychology. Instead, we see remarkably similar descriptions of the phenomenon across diverse populations and historical periods. Even more intriguing, some experiencers report information during their episodes that they couldn't have known through normal means. They describe architectural details of buildings they've never visited, provide accurate information about events they've never witnessed, or demonstrate knowledge of subjects they've never studied. While skeptics argue this could be explained by unconscious observation and forgotten memories, the specificity and accuracy of this information often exceeds what conventional explanations can reasonably account for. The implications of these experiences extend far beyond individual psychology. If parallel universe episodes represent genuine interactions with alternate realities, they suggest that our understanding of consciousness, identity, and the nature of existence itself requires fundamental revision. We might not be isolated individuals living singular lives, but rather complex quantum entities experiencing multiple simultaneous existences across an infinite array of possible worlds. Some researchers propose that these experiences might serve an evolutionary purpose, providing access to problem-solving strategies and survival information from alternate versions of ourselves. If consciousness can occasionally access the experiences of parallel selves, it could theoretically benefit from the collective knowledge and experiences of multiple lifetimes, enhancing our ability to navigate complex challenges and make optimal decisions. This raises profound questions about the nature of identity and free will. If multiple versions of you exist across parallel realities, which one represents the real you? Are the decisions you make truly yours, or are they influenced by the experiences and knowledge of your alternate selves? These philosophical implications challenge our fundamental assumptions about consciousness, identity, and the meaning of individual existence. The scientific establishment remains largely skeptical of parallel universe claims, requiring extraordinary evidence for such extraordinary assertions. Current technology lacks the capability to detect or measure parallel realities directly, making empirical verification extremely difficult. However, ongoing research in quantum consciousness, many worlds interpretations, and the nature of reality itself continues to explore the theoretical boundaries of what might be possible. Recent developments in quantum computing and consciousness research have begun to suggest that the relationship between mind and reality might be far more complex than previously imagined. Some researchers are investigating whether quantum processes in the brain might allow for limited interaction with parallel quantum states, though such research remains highly speculative and controversial within mainstream scientific circles. The debate continues to evolve as more people come forward with detailed accounts of reality shift experiences. Online communities have formed where experiencers share their stories, compare notes, and search for patterns that might provide clues about the underlying mechanisms. While many cases can undoubtedly be explained through conventional means, a small percentage remain genuinely puzzling, defying simple psychological or neurological explanations. What makes these experiences particularly compelling is their profound impact on the individuals who undergo them. Many experiencers report lasting changes in their worldview, developing a deep appreciation for the fluid nature of reality and a decreased attachment to fixed beliefs about the nature of existence. They often describe feeling like temporary visitors in their own lives, aware that their current reality is just one possibility among infinite alternatives. The question remains, are these experiences genuine glimpses into parallel realities, or are they sophisticated illusions created by the complex interplay between consciousness, memory, and perception? While definitive answers remain elusive, the consistency and detail of these reports suggest that something significant is occurring, whether it involves actual travel between realities or represents a previously unknown aspect of human consciousness. As our understanding of quantum mechanics, consciousness, and the nature of reality continues to evolve, we may eventually develop the tools and theories necessary to investigate these phenomena more rigorously. Until then, the experiences of people like Lorena Garcia and countless others serve as fascinating puzzles that challenge our assumptions about the boundaries of the possible. The next time you experience that strange moment of déjà vu, that inexplicable feeling that something isn't quite right with your familiar world, consider the possibility that you might be experiencing something far more profound than a simple trick of memory. You might be catching a glimpse of the vast multiverse that surrounds us, briefly accessing the infinite array of parallel worlds where alternate versions of yourself are living different versions of your life. So I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced moments that felt like reality had shifted around you? Have you woken up to find small but significant changes in your environment that you couldn't explain? Share your experiences in the comments below. I read every single comment and I'm genuinely curious about your stories. These experiences might be more common than we realize, and by sharing them, we might begin to understand whether we're dealing with psychological phenomena or something that challenges our fundamental understanding of reality itself. If you found this exploration of parallel universes and reality shifts fascinating, you'll definitely want to check out my next video where we'll dive deep into the mysterious cases of people who claim to have experienced time slips, finding themselves temporarily displaced in different time periods. The boundary between science and the impossible continues to blur, and together we're going to explore every mysterious corner of reality. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown, and I'll see you in the next dimension.